Today, I'm going to be ranking every Nintendo handheld, not like every individual like Game and Watch or anything like that, but we're going to go over the main ones. All of these guys here. I'll also add in the Switch 2 at the end, even though it's probably a little too early to really rank it. But I'm just going to go in order of how it's presented to me because I think it'll be more fun that way. Going in release order just isn't as fun, I don't think. But we're going to start with a pretty controversial one, the 2DS XL. Now, this was released in 2018 after the Switch. They did a kind of a Game Boy Micro move here, which if you didn't know, the Game Boy Micro was released after the Nintendo DS because Nintendo was kind of scared that the DS line would not take off because the Game Boy line was so popular. So they made the Micro as a way to potentially backpedal if they needed to. Turned out the DS was, I don't know, one of the most popular consoles of all time, and they didn't need to make the Micro, and the Micro was a flop because people are like, why would I get a Micro? Because it's wildly uncomfortable, and my DS plays all the Game Boy Advance games anyways. That's a lot of lead up for the 2DS XL. The 2DS XL was kind of a similar situation. They're like, well, we still have a couple more 3DS games coming out. The 3DS, not as popular as Game Boy or even the DS family, but it's popular, and we don't know how this whole Switch thing is going to go. So they still continued on with the 2DS XL. The Switch ended up being their most popular console of all time. And it seems like every time Nintendo second guesses themselves, they do really well. But what do I think of the 2DS XL? Personally, I kind of like it. I don't know why it gets so much hate. The XL consoles are where it's at for me because I have bigger hands. It's more comfortable for me. This is exactly why I don't like the SP. But I can understand not having the 3D features kind of takes it back a bit, but it's pretty darn close. I'm going to put the 2DS at B right now. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's got good battery life. It's comfortable. It's got upgraded specs. So there's really nothing to complain about other than no 3D. And it's really hard to fix the top screen in these things because they're like glued shut on the top. I don't know where any of the screws are on the top shell. Anyways, the DSi, and that's the regular DSi. This was something that I was like super excited about when it was coming out. I like begged for one for Christmas. I did get one in like the nice blue color, like this blue. And it made me get rid of my DS Lite. I kind of regret that. The DS Lite, not to spoil anything, is kind of king. Losing the GBA slot, even though it doesn't play Game Boy or Game Boy Color games, losing the GBA slot sucks. So I don't know how I feel about it. Back in the day, it was cool to have a camera. Any middle schooler with access to a camera is going to take a bunch of funny pictures. That has so much entertainment value in itself right there. But nowadays, who's using the camera on the DS or the 3DS? Not me. So to me, the DSi is kind of just like a worse DS Lite. So I'm actually going to put this in D tier for now. I know. DS got a great, amazing library, but not having the GBA slot definitely takes it down a notch. I kind of already talked this one up a bit. The DS Lite. Let's just go ahead and drag this up to S tier. It's an S tier console. I wish that it was a little bigger now, but having the Game Boy Advance slot have that amazing library of games and also have all of the DS games at your disposal in one console can't be beat. Really can't be beat. Two of the greatest game console libraries of all time. Like the Pokemon games alone are the best in the series that you can play on this console. I don't know, man. I don't know. What else do I need to say? It was also an upgrade over the original DS. The screens were much better. The form factor was much better. Do these hinges break a lot? Yeah, absolutely. But that's what the macro's for. Or you could just fix the top screen if you really want to. I don't like messing with it because I can never get those stickers for the screw covers off without just ruining them. Also, it's kind of a pain in the butt to just take it apart in general. It's just an amazing console. The Game Boy Lite. This one of the better Game Boy models, and I will specify this now. If you don't know, I mod Game Boys like crazy. RetroRemaster.com if you want to buy one. I'm going to look at all of these consoles as stock consoles, not modded consoles, stock consoles. So the Game Boy Lite, even though it's exclusive to Japan, arguably one of the better Game Boy models. It is practically just a base Game Boy. No Game Boy Color games can be played on here. It is just a Game Boy Pocket, but instead of AAA batteries, it's AA batteries, and you actually get a backlight. It's not a great backlight, but if you're playing in a pitch black room, you can see the screen. While it only can play regular Game Boy games, honestly, a bit of spoilers for a few consoles ahead, but I think the Game Boy library, while it obviously has way more games, is just better than the Game Boy Color games. There's not a ton of Game Boy Color specific, like Game Boy Color exclusive games that I'm dying to play. And the Game Boy Color games that I do like more are usually the like split ones that have Game Boy Color enhancements, but you can still play it in black and white on the original Game Boy models. So I'm gonna put the Game Boy Lite. Man, I kind of want to put it at B. I'm gonna put it at B, and I'm gonna move the 2DS XL up to A. Sorry, I've got my like light right in front of my rankings here, but yeah, we'll see. We might be changing up the rankings as we go. We probably will. We'll probably do that. This probably isn't the final ranking. Next up, we have the 3DS XL, not the new 3DS XL, just the regular 3DS XL. Are you confused yet? Probably. I think this is also an A tier console. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to shift things down again because it's like it's pretty much a 2DS XL, but it doesn't have the upgraded CPU, so it's not going to run as good. Something that you'll notice if you are a Pokemon fan playing like Pokemon Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon, there is a huge difference playing it on a base 3DS versus the new 3DS. It just runs so much better on the newer ones. So that does put it below the new 2DS XL for me. But then it has 3D capabilities. Even though I'm not really big on 3D, it is a fully fledged 3DS. So I don't know. I feel like they're in the same vein because they are like the same size. But Game Boy Micro, it can only play Game Boy Advance games. It's uncomfortably small. It does have a backlit screen. I will give it that. But it's so wildly uncomfortable for me personally to play. There's no point. No Game Boy, no Game Boy Color, just Game Boy Advance. Great library, decent screen. I wouldn't even say it's a good screen. It just has a backlight. But honestly, I think it's ugly. It's very pocketable, but it's uncomfortable. It's not worth playing, in my opinion. I don't know how much these go for anymore, but I bought mine for like a little under $200. And that was like 4 years ago. Not worth the money. Game Boy Color. I'm going to put this... Man, it's going to be in B tier. I think I have to put it up here because it's like, okay, you can play all the Game Boy Color games. But again, there's not that many Game Boy Color exclusive games that to me are worth playing. Yeah, Crystal's good, but you could get away with Gold and Silver. I'm not a huge Zelda fan, but Oracle of Seasons and Ages, I think those are the titles. Those are Game Boy Color exclusive. But yeah, there's not like a ton of Game Boy Color exclusive titles that I'm like, yeah, I need to play this. I'm sure I'm going to get a couple of comments telling me otherwise, but you know what? I don't know. I'll leave Game Boy Color ahead because it has more titles. And honestly, I don't mind a stock screen. I think it's fun to play with a stock screen sometimes. Obviously, I'd rather have an IPS display, but if I was stuck on an island, I'd probably rather have a stock Game Boy because the battery life would last longer. You're not charging it on a stranded island, you know? But I don't know, you just get some sunlight, you open a window, you can play your Game Boy. It's not that big of a deal. And again, we're talking stock. We're not talking modded, we're talking stock. And this backlight on the Game Boy Lite is not great. The Switch Lite. I don't like the Switch Lite. Again, it's not so small that it's like uncomfortable to play. I'd rather have a grip on it for sure. And after playing a lot of Switch 2, I think I would struggle to play the Switch Lite because the Switch 2 is like, it makes the original Switch look like a toy. Like I look at my regular like Switch OLED now, and I'm like, how did I ever play on this thing? But the Switch Lite is too small for me to enjoy playing long game sessions on. And again, like I've said with a lot of these other consoles already, it doesn't have all of the full feature set of a regular Nintendo Switch. So you can't play every Switch game on it. Majority of the games that I play, you don't need a real Switch for, but I also love playing my Switch with other people. And so being able to dock it and tear the controllers off and hand them to my friends is a huge deal for me. So the Switch as a whole, though, is probably my new favorite console of all time. The library is just so good. I mean, it's hard not to say that about any Nintendo console. So I will put it above, like the library is what's carrying it right now to the bottom of A tier, might even drop down into B tier. We'll see how fat the A tier gets. The DMG. I love this thing, man. Yeah, the screen's not great, but there's something about that pea green screen, that dot matrix panel. I love it. I really do. And like, it's just so chunky that it's still comfortable to this day. And again, the library, while it's only original Game Boy games, there's so many good games in there. Tetris alone could carry this thing all the way to the stratosphere. Literally, that's what happens when you beat the game. So for me, people are gonna dislike me for this. You know what? I'll put this top of or bottom of A tier. Yeah, this is how this is shaping up to be right now. It still holds up. I just love this console so freaking much. I don't care what people think. This is my tier list. Make your own if you don't like this. Got great battery life. If you got a little bit of sunlight or a lamp near you, or a friggin' worm light, you're set. You're good to go. You're golden. Screw it. I'd rather, no, that's a little too high. I'd rather play it than my Switch Lite. I'd rather play a stock DMG than my Switch Lite. I said it. DSi XL. I'm just going to put it at C tier. It's better than the DSi because it's bigger. It's more comfortable. I don't like that it's the same number of pixels. I understand that they can't just add more pixels to the screen, but you can definitely tell that it's like stretched and it's not that many pixels on the DSi screens, which is the same resolution as the DS and DS Lite. So that definitely hinders it a little bit, but it's more comfortable. And I would say it's no, it's not even the definitive DS because the DS Lite just is. It doesn't have the Game Boy Advance capabilities in it. It does have the DSiWare, but I don't really care about DSiWare anymore. So yeah, C tier. If it had a Game Boy Advance slot, S tier. Just saying. Game & Watch. This is the ball one, but I'm going to call this all Game & Watches, even the Zelda and the Mario ones that they just released not too long ago. For its time, it was revolutionary, which I could also say that for the DMG if you're still upset about that. We would not have any of these handhelds if it weren't for the DMG. And we wouldn't have the DMG if it weren't for the Game & Watch. So I think the story is legendary. Guys playing on his calculator on the train thinks, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I had a video game to play? Boom, Game & Watch was born. And it's also a watch, so you can check the time, I guess. I don't know why the watch was so necessary, but it's a watch you can play. Why didn't they make a calculator that you can play? I don't know. Maybe that would have been more useful because I feel like there's a lot of Japanese businessmen that wear a watch. I'm not wearing my watch right now. I'm not really a watch guy. But anyways, it's revolutionary. It was insane for the time. Probably better than any of the Tiger Electronic handhelds, I'm just saying. The newer ones, pretty cool because you have multiple games in one and it's like a backlit screen. But I'm going to have to put this at like, I think it's cooler to have a Game & Watch than a DSi nowadays. That's my ranking. I'm sorry. Game Boy Advance. Ooh. This is tough because I can't think about it being modded, but it's so much more comfortable than the SP, but it doesn't have a backlit screen. But again, like it really does not matter. If you have a worm light, I'm staring at my worm light right now. If you have an open window or just the blinds up, if you have a lamp, you're good. Is it going to be the best experience? No. It's going to be better outside, like with the sun directly on it. Hopefully you don't see the circle of the sun on the screen, but you have the Game Boy Advance library at your fingertips. Not only do you have the Game Boy Color and the regular Game Boy library, but you got games like the two amazing Metroid games of Zero Mission and Fusion. You've got Nightmare Dreamland and Amazing Mirror. You have it's not the best Mario Kart, but you got Mario Kart Super Circuit. You got Pinball Land. You have some of the best Pokemon games. Boom. Wario Land. WarioWare. Man, am I a WarioWare fan now. So many bangers. Boom. I said it. The new 3DS XL. Where am I gonna put it? Oh my gosh. I'd say it's probably about there. You can play 3DS, DS. You can even play Game Boy and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games on there if the eShop was still up. Gotta remember, this isn't modded, so but it's so easy to mod a 3DS, man. My 3DS is loaded up with so many games. Yeah, I could have said that for the other 3DS models that I've already talked about, loading those games up. But it's like, I don't know, it's the definitive 3DS model. It's the XL. It's the new hardware. It's the best way to play, in my opinion. I love my Galaxy new 3DS XL. It's so good. I don't really think I need to talk it up anymore. The new 3DS non-XL, I'll put it up here. No, I'll put it there. Same thing. It's just not XL. I mean, it's the definitive if you don't want the extra size, but I do. And this is my tier list. So, yeah. Moving on. This is like rapid fire around here. DS, the original DS. It is good and it should be like up here, but these screens are so bad and the design is so ugly that I don't think that you know what? There's too many things over in this tier. It's top of B tier. It's not the most comfortable device. It's very ugly. The shell is really brittle, so they break like crazy nowadays. Yeah, it's not the best. The DS Lite cleans it up to be so much better, but it does have DS and Game Boy Advance, so it's like maybe I should put it above some of these other consoles. You know, I just yeah. Okay, let's be a little more fair here. I'm still gonna keep this up there, even though this can play out. Dang it. Fine. Gosh, I think I may have edited this too much. Moving on, Game Boy Pocket. It's a DMG, but smaller. So, yeah, I'm sorry. It's not as comfortable. It's got way less battery life because it's two AAAs. All the things I said before, but now on a sadder tone. The original Switch. It's going to go up here. It's good. It could be better. If the OLED wasn't on this tier, this is an S tier console. You know what? I'd rather play a Switch than a 3DS, even though it's got so much more there. Yeah, I'll give it that. How about that? 2DS, crazy. I know. No, because yeah, it's just so comfortable. It's so weird and out there. I don't know, man. It's cool. It's really cool. There, it got me through. But now that I have the other models, I don't really ever want to play with the original 3DS ever again. It's just too small and it doesn't run as well as the other ones. Yeah. Switch OLED. Ooh, it's so tough. This is like choosing between Platinum Emerald and Leaf Green. I'm going to put it there. The Switch is like my favorite console of all time now. It's hard to put it above the GameCube, but there's so many good games on the Switch. I could live off of my Switch collection for the rest of time and be a happy man. It's just so good. The OLED screen is beautiful. Docking it into my TV is beautiful. Got the detachable Joy-Cons, and it's the definitive Nintendo Switch. And the Switch library is too dang good. I've yapped enough this video. So we're not really gonna end. We got one more console to talk about after this one, but the SP is the last picture up here. Man, I don't like the SP personally, but like I said, it's got a backlit screen. The 101, well, it's got a front lit and then a backlit if you have a 101. The backlit display is beautiful, gotta admit. It's gonna be harder to play in the sunlight, but let's be real, we're gamers, we're not playing outside. It is uncomfortable for me. So it's going to be hard to put it above something like the DS. You know what? It's in B tier. A tier is getting too big. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how I feel. I almost feel like I should put the Game Boy Pocket lower. It'd be funny if the only thing I had in C tier was the DSi XL. But yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that ranking. Micro is definitely the worst. Oh man. But the Switch 2, where would I put this? I've only had it for what, a month now. I've been playing it almost every night. Like it has gotten me back into gaming on a daily basis, almost daily basis. I don't play it every single night. Some nights I just can't. But even though there's only one real game for it, I love Mario Kart World. It's been fun. It's been a great time. I got a little tired of it because I was playing it too much, so I took a break. I bought Cyberpunk. It's not really my thing. I think I'm done playing Cyberpunk, but I'm happy to support developers who actually put their games on the cartridge. I am ecstatic about DK Bonanza. At the time of recording, it is not out. It's release week, so by the time you're seeing this, I've probably beaten the game. I'm recording a bunch in advance because I'm really behind. Yeah, I think I would put the Switch 2 in S tier. I'll put it at the bottom of S tier because it doesn't have a game library yet, but it is better than the Switch 1. It's a definitive Switch 1, honestly. It doesn't play every single Switch 1 games, but it plays almost every single Switch 1 game better than the Switch 1. So it's gonna be hard to beat the Switch 2. I think in a couple years time, once we have a bit more of a library under the Switch 2 belt, it will be probably the top of this list. This list might look different in a couple years, but I think it'll be at the top of this list. Keep in mind, this is just handhelds. I'll probably do consoles next. I almost added the Sony consoles into this mix, but I just don't have enough experience with them. I'm a Nintendo kid. Sorry. If you disagree with this list, let me know in the comments. I'm sure everybody has something that they hate about this list, but this is how I feel. It's my opinion, and you can't take that away from me.